to show you how to make a chutney, which is one of the easiest ways of preserving fruits and vegetables. I'm just going to do a really simple one here with apples. I've got cooking apples here, Bramley apples. Tip those into a pan. That's probably about 1.5 kilos that I've peeled. You also need to make sure you've given them a wash. Lots of people like to make chutneys with fruit and veg from their allotment, so make sure you give that a good scrub. To that, I'm going to add some raisins, because that's always quite nice in a chutney. Pop those in. And then the difference between a chutney and other ways of preserving things is that it uses vinegar or another astringent acid to preserve everything. I'm using about 750 mils of cider vinegar, and you want roughly, it depends from recipe to recipe, but roughly the same quantity of sugar. So I'll pop that in as well. Also want to put some chopped up onions just to give it a bit more flavour. And then finally, you don't have to, but the word chutney actually comes from India, where they're very into their pickles and other spices. So it's quite nice. I've got some mustard seeds, some ground ginger. Be careful with some of the ground spices because you don't want to make it too cloudy. And then all you do, heat that over a medium heat. You want to bring it up to a boil, and then you just let it cook. And it depends how much you do. For something like this, it will probably take about 40 minutes or so to an hour to cook down. If you've got a bigger batch, it might even take you an hour and a half. But just keep checking on it every 10 minutes or so, giving it a stir. And after that time, you'll end up with a really thick, kind of slightly pulpy mixture like this. And a really good test to show that it's done is if you just run your spoon through it, it should still be kind of syrupy and you shouldn't get lots of liquid leaching out. Once that's done and all the flavours are amalgamated, you're ready to preserve it. So what you want to do is to get a jam jar like this. I like these. If you have jam jars with like a metal lid, you want to be a bit careful about that because the vinegar will actually eat through the metal, so make sure you get plastic ones. Pop that. The easiest way to do it, you can pop it in a big pan and sterilise it by boiling it for 10 minutes, but it's much easier just to put it through a dishwasher, and then you want to put it into an oven, set it about 150 degrees for 10 minutes to dry it off. Now you want to do this while both of them are still hot. So I'll get a spoon that I've also sterilised as well. There we go. And then fill it nearly all the way up. There we go. And then you simply have to seal the lid. And then actually with a chutney, it's great to use autumnal fruits because you actually want to keep them in a cupboard for a couple of months, about 3 months I'd say, just to let the vinegar settle a bit and the flavours to mellow together. They'll keep for up to about 6 months, some of them maybe even up to a year. Once you've opened them, best to keep them in the fridge where they'll keep for up to a month or so. And then it's perfect. Have a dollop with some cheese and some salad for a really nice ploughman's lunch. And that's how you make chutney.